Hi guys, I just want to do a video on introducing some of the Chinese sauces and spices that we use in the everyday cooking. The reason why I want to do this video is a lot of the times when I go shop for these ingredients, I see a lot of people in the Chinese supermarket and they are so confused. They don't know what to choose. They want to get cooking wines, but there's hundreds of cooking wines to choose from, different color, different brands they choose, and if you choose the wrong one, it's really not gonna make any benefit to your delicious dishes. Okay, so I want to start off with simple ones. As you can see, I have a lot of spice here as like daily used spices we use for cooking. So I just want to start with some very simple items so you can see this will start to disappear. Okay, so the first thing, obviously the very common thing that everyone uses, not just in Asian food, it's sea salt. Pepper, black pepper, that's also very commonly used in any country's food, so I'm not going to discuss it any further. Salt and pepper. Then it's going to come in the most important thing, soya sauce. Everybody knows about soya sauce. It's a very popular sauce that we use in the Asian food dishes. So there's two types of soya sauces. One is this kind of soya sauce. Just gonna bring it closer. It says it's a dark soya sauce, okay? And there is also options like this. It says premium soya sauce, right? And there's also this kind of soya sauce which says superior light soya sauce. So if you look at soya sauce overall, it comes in two categories. Or this one as well, I forgot. This one is the Japanese soya sauce, the soba, sorry, used for soba. Okay, let's put this side here a bit. So if you look at this kind of soya sauce, like what we said, soya sauce comes in two different types. It's the normal one and it's the darker one, okay? So how do we distinguish between the two types of soya sauce? If you look at this one, it's a lot more heavier in color, and you can also read on the label, it says dark soya sauce. This kind of soya sauce, it doesn't taste, I wouldn't say spicy, it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, and we mainly use it for stew because it gives the food a lot of color. Then we move on to the more common style of soya sauce. It comes in superior soya sauce, premium soya sauce, superior soya sauce. It also has small bottles like sushi soya sauce. How do we choose the correct one? Okay, so there are two categories basically, very simple to look, like these ones. This one is more expensive, okay, and this one is cheaper. So this one I pick bigger buckets or bottles to use for daily use, and this one I pick the biggest bottle they have available in the shop. These normally come in very small bottles because they're more expensive in price. So if you are making, let's say, stir fry or stews, then it doesn't really matter which soya sauce you are using because you will be using a lot more sauces in your food to upgrade the flavor of the dish. So it doesn't really matter. If one starts to make, I say, sauces or you use for dipping your dumpling, or when we use soya sauce fried rice, when the main flavor comes from the soya sauce, then I would say use the better one, because you can taste a lot more than just saltiness. Also, the difference between those two types of soy sauce, let me show you the names of the soy sauce. The different type of this soy sauce is this one, the slightly cheaper one, is more salty than the more expensive ones. Okay, so this one have a lot more flavor to it than just saltiness. So I would say if you don't cook a lot of Asian dishes, like you cook every single day, or if you have that bit of an extra budget, go for the better one. Okay, so this one is done. This is the oyster sauce that we use. Okay, and we normally just put a little bit into stir-fried dishes, because this one, it's not as commonly used as soya sauce, and it's got a bit of additional seafood taste to it compared to the normal soya sauce. Okay, so we're going to look at the next. Let's look at cooking wine. The assistant gave them this Taiwan Shaoxing wine. They give them this cooking wine when they ask for the cooking wine. This cooking wine is not wrong, okay? If you look at the label, it does say wine, okay? It's a kind of cooking wine. But if you smell it, of course you can't smell this in the shop, but if you do have one, if you smell it, it's got a very strong smell to it. It's not just a simple alcohol smell. It's got a lot other smell to it. I don't know how to describe it, but you can try. This has got 40% rice, 54% water, and 5.6% wheat. So this has got a very strong taste to it. If you just want to simply marinate your meat or add into the stew, then don't go for this one, because it's gonna bring a very weird smell and taste into the dishes. Okay, so we normally use it to make Taiwanese drunk chicken. I think that's how you call it. So basically you just soak the chicken in this wine, and then that chicken tastes very much just like this wine. Okay, so this one, if you just want a plain cooking wine to cook, don't go for this one. I can strongly advise you to go for the clear wine, which I don't have that with me at the moment. I don't have that because I don't use a lot of it. It's similar to this, but it's clear. So it's not brownish liquid, it's clear, and then on there it says rice wine. I would say go for that, because that's just simply alcohol. It doesn't have any random smell to it. This one, you can see I bought it quite a while back, and beside making chicken stew or chicken soup, chicken stock, I hardly ever add this. Still half left, and I've been owning it for like a couple of months now. Actually, this was bought by my mother-in-law when she came to visit from Taiwan, and I think they probably just, yeah, it's made in Taiwan. Okay, so let's grab one. Okay, then we're going to start with this kind of cooking wine, which I strongly advise. I use this so much. Okay, you can see this. Okay, this one you can see is not clear. It's also got a color to it, but when you smell it, the smell is a lot less strong. Okay, and I normally choose the options. Okay, you can't really see it on the label if you can't read it, if you can't read the Chinese, but at the back they normally have an English label. If you look at the English label, this is the cooking wine with ginger and spring onion flavor. This is a new one that I see in the market. In the past, I normally see the original ones, which is just cooking wine without ginger and spring onion, which sometimes I have to add additional ginger and spring onion to it to make it taste better, to lift up the flavor. Until I started using this cooking wine, it's just a lot better. Okay, then we look at vinegar. Vinegar, important, very important. Also, we come in two types of vinegar, which is very similar to the one we get from supermarket, the Chinese one. This one is a white rice vinegar, and this one is just vinegar. This is the vinegar from rice as well, but this is black. You can see this is almost finished. This is black. So the one that you eat from the dim sum or restaurant, when you order dumpling and they bring you some soy sauce, and the vinegar, it's normally this one. Okay, I go for this brand. This white vinegar. This one, it looks like water. Okay, just like the normal rice vinegar or grape vinegar you get from the supermarket. Okay, sometimes I get questions as to what's the difference between those two vinegars. Can't I use any one of it when I do cooking? Yes, most of the time you can use one or the other. This one is normally used cold dish, like when you try to stir fry a vegetable or potato, you know, the light color food, or when you try to do some cold dish, just simply mixing the food like a starter salad type of dish. Most of the time we go for the white one because it is lighter in color. Okay, it's also not going to affect the color of your dish. The smell of it is also lighter. Okay, and it's got a very simple and plain sour smell. I haven't opened this yet. Let me open this. Yes, so it's got a very, very simple flavor. It's just like the normal white vinegar we get from the supermarket, just in our food dish. This one for dumpling, for dipping, for stew, for cooking, for pretty much everything. And this one, I mainly use it for cold dish, but of course, personal preference. You can put it in anything you want to. Okay. Then this one, this is a Korean sesame, which I use every day as well. I choose this Korean sesame because it's just so much better. The seed, the sesame seed, it's nice and beautiful, and it tastes like wonderfully roasted. It's when you sprinkle some of this or even black sesame on the rice before you serve the rice, it just make it look a lot better. Okay, not much left. This is just the organic oil that every dish uses, cooking oil. That's very important. Okay, and then there's the ginger. We use ginger pretty much in every single meat dish that we make. So I will show you if we have a chance. Garlic. I use garlic a lot as well. Okay, this one I missed out. This one is a soba sauce. This one also looks like a soy sauce. Okay, but this is not for cooking. This is very expensive to use to cook. This soy sauce is the one that we use when we make soba. Right. Anyway, this is the new sauce that, let's move on to the next. This is a new sauce that I found. It's called seasoned soy sauce for seafood. I show you the label. Looks like this. Okay, if you look at this big word here, this one here, this one means steaming. Okay, It's a Chinese word. It means steaming, and on the picture you can see there's a fish. Okay, so this sauce I cook in pretty much every single seafood dish that I make. Okay, this one, see, I don't have much left. It's like crystal. If you look at it, it's like crystal. This is actually sugar, okay? Just not the sugar that we get from the supermarket and, you know, the normal supermarket and put in the tea and coffee. This is the one we get from Chinese market, and it's just called sugar crystal, okay? So this one, there's a color. It calls lump sugar on there. Let me try to correct this. If you look at it, I don't know if you can see. It's called lump sugar. It looks like sugar crystal. Okay, so this one, I strongly recommend this to put into the stew instead of the normal sugar or even maple syrup. This is the best soya bean paste I've ever had. Then I look at this one. It's also a fermented bean, but I'll show you this. It's got a very strong smell to it. This one is not a Chinese spice. This one is a Korean bean paste. Okay, so the smell with the soybean paste, the smell and the taste between the two is very, very different. This one I use in the stew, the Chinese one, and this one, the Korean one, I put in the seafood soup. Then I look at this kind of paste. Let me see what it's called in English. It's called sweet bean paste. So it's also like a kind of a soya bean paste, but a sweet bean paste. Okay, this one I use a lot when I try to make stir fry, like beef stir fry, or sometimes pork stir fry, like pork strips. I put the sauce in. We use this one. It's called salted black soya bean. Okay, it's like this. And if I show you the inside, it looks terrible. It's got a very strong smell the moment you open the packet. It's like this little black thing. Okay, this is actually the fermented soybean. If you put it together with pork ribs, when you try to steam the pork ribs, when you try to make soup and broth out of pork ribs, this kind of stock, it comes in two types. Okay, it looks pretty much the same. I think the chicken one is a slightly more yellow than the mushroom one. Okay, so if you can see this, okay, this is the mushroom flavor. I add this when I make stir fries. This is the one that I haven't used yet. It's called a multi-flavorant seasoning. It's got a mix of everything. It's this. Okay. 80% of the time I don't use it. I just add like half a teaspoon when I make beef or like meat stews. Then this is not really a Chinese spice. This is cinnamon. Okay. This is cinnamon stick that I use as well in making the stew. Cinnamon. Okay. International spice that everyone uses. This one you can just get from the normal supermarket. I got this one from Tesco. It's a star aniseed. Okay. This is a star aniseed, so it just looks like this, like a little star. Add to the meat. Then these are the seafood options. This is, I think this is like a Japanese, I don't know. This is basically like a baby shrimps dried and pre-cooked baby shrimps. Okay, this one is dried baby shrimps. This one is pickled baby shrimps. Okay, these one I don't use them very often. I just add them to the soup or to the fillings when we make dumpling. The little baby dried fish. This one I normally add a few into the miso soup to make the soup base. Okay, and this is like a baby food. Okay, then this one also from Korean market, little yellow bottle like this. This is a sesame oil, pure sesame oil. This is good. Then this one, okay, this one is a white pepper, grounded pepper. Okay, this is very similar to black pepper that we get from the supermarket, but the taste is slightly more spicy than the black pepper. So this one we normally add it to the soup that we. Okay, then this big thing is also Japanese. This is just a sesame as well, is salad dressing. Haven't tried it yet. For this bottle, I haven't opened it yet. It's a new one. Okay. This one is black cardamom. Which is like a little ball. If you can see it. It's got a very strong smell to it, but it's not great when you smell it on, so. But use one when you make a big pot of meat stew. It definitely boosts up the flavor. Okay, look, we're almost done. This one is also a bean paste, but this is a spicy version. Okay, so this is also good when you try to make mapo tofu, like like the spicy tofu, or when you try to make the stir fry, you want some of the spiciness to it, add a bit of a spiciness to it, you can always use a bit of this bean paste. This one as well, peanut and chili oil. I think every single Chinese will know this. It's a secret, you know. You can eat it with plain rice, you can eat it with pickles, you can eat it with cold dish, you can eat it with dumpling, you can eat it with pretty much anything. You can use it in stir fry, in stews. It's a very common used dish. This one is pickled chili. It's the same brand as the other chili oil, but this is a pickled chili. So this one you can see we've also had a lot. I normally add this to the soup noodle that we get. Just eat it as it is with soup noodle. Really good. There's one more. This one is cumin. Okay, it's a cumin powder. Okay, sometimes I use the whole cumin when we make steak, but the powder option is also a very popular option for me to use.